The thing about a real estate business, like a franchise or our main company, is we are employers, and we're giving people, estate agents, an opportunity to actually go out and generate an income for themselves and for their families. And, that's in itself is very, very rewarding.
So I wanted to just end off this season, if I can call it that, or journeys, with my partner in crime, Jonathan Acutt, who's also my husband, but works with me in the business. So we're just winding up the different journeys, as I said, and I thought in closing it would be really nice for people to also know what your speciality is and what you do in the industry. And I think our focus for this particular episode is a lot on community management and body corporate management. But before we dive into that, maybe you can just tell our audience a little bit more about yourself. They know all about me now, but you can just tell everyone a little bit more about yourself and what you do.
I'm so proud of you. I've been watching your journey as well, and I think that my journey in real estate has really been one of those, I would say, a journey with ups and downs, but one of the most rewarding things that I've seen is people like yourself who have joined real estate and have come into the industry from whatever other job or line of work that they've been in, and they've really found themselves in real estate. And I think that you are just one of those people that have grabbed real estate, with both hands and just really run with it. So my journey's been about finding myself, starting off in sales and doing a bit of rentals. I ran my own franchise for a while, which I have to say was failed dismally, let's just say that. But there were so many lessons that I learned coming out of that. Through to joining our head office, working with our parents, becoming a franchisor, and working with other estate agents and principals who wanted to start their own business. And then a couple of years back, I went into a different sector of real estate, which is body corporate management and homeowners associations. And, it was one of those parts of the industry when, if you said to me a few years before, would you do this? I would have told you you're absolutely crazy. But I really found that there was a massive gap in property management. And so we started up with this company. We bought an existing business, which we rebranded to Acutts as well. And just really delved into, what it is to be a managing agent and building a team. And, we speak about things like systems. We speak about things like sharing information with homeowners that typically other managing agents don't, they try and hold back the information and, to be the go-to person, whereas we believe in sharing that information upfront and being transparent. And, that's really about building trust. So for me, that would be my main portfolio in the business. And then obviously keeping an eye on everything else as well.
I also know a lot of people are often surprised and pleasantly surprised to know that we are such an old real estate company. We don't often talk about it, but we have this platform now, so we can. When I tell people we were established in 1851, it's quite an accolade. It's something really special, and I know that's close to both our hearts. So maybe you want to just talk to us a little bit more about that and where that all started.
Sure. Well, I'm a sixth generation estate agent, and it's being born into the family and working very closely with my dad over the past 20 plus years has really given me the platform that I needed to grow. And so being established in 1851, 174 years, I always say that we're looking forward to the next 174 years. So that's my goal, is to make sure that this company is it's still around for that time. And it's so interesting. when it comes to strategy, how it affects the decisions that you make on a daily basis. For example, we value things like relationships over transactions. The analogy I use is we are marathon runners compared to sprinters. And if you look at the body composition of a marathon runner versus sprinter, they're very different. So when you look at our company, our family firm, compared to other real estate companies, we look very different. But that's because we're designed to really to be around for future generations. And we've got our little son Joshua, who's the 7th generation, and I can tell you right now, he is going to fit right in with the industry. And you know that you've already seen those little things come
Not
through.
so little anymore.
Not so little anymore.
Yeah. I think it's very special for me to have worked in the family business. I've worked in other companies, many other companies. I had an 11-year career in beauty therapy or somatology, which is probably the better terminology. And working in a family business and it being our own business, it definitely puts everything in a different, you look at everything differently, different perspective. We don't have working hours. We work 24/7, 365 days a year. But it's really amazing to have aligned ourselves with some amazing people who are our principals, our franchisors, our agents, and that we're really there to service the public. And I've really, really enjoyed that space. I think COVID taught us to create multiple service offerings to our clients, and I think that's been really, really good. So I don't know if you want to tell us a little bit more about that. We're not just there to sell residential properties and do letting. It's a lot more than that.
We have a few throwaway lines that have been passed down from my father to myself. One of the ones, for example, with property management or property administration, as they used to call it, was that property administration got us through the First and Second World Wars. And that's because all the men were all fighting overseas. And, it's so important what you say. There are companies that specialize in certain aspects of real estate, whether it's residential, commercial. And what we've tried to do is make sure that we have a service offering that caters for any individual's complete real estate needs, whether it's buying or selling a home, whether it's investing. We've spoken a lot about the real estate journey throughout your series so far. And it's amazing to me hearing stories like a guy again the other day said to me, I've just bought my home through Acutts, and my father bought his home through Acutts, and my grandfather bought his home through Acutts. So, those kind of stories just really just prove that what we are doing is we're on the right track. The important part, I think, also is that when you dealing with something like property management, where you're managing the building or the complex, and then that person wants to sell their property or find a tenant because they want to rent it out, the trust is already in place, and that's what we're going for. We want to be the real estate company of choice and ensure that that person, that trust that's already there will then spill over into the selling or buying of real estate, as well as the letting. Yeah.
So that's great. Thank you so much for that. I've obviously lived through all of that with you, but prior to me joining the company, you were already well on your way in this journey. So I thought it would be quite nice for you to share with everybody from the beginning. How did this all start for you? Where has it taken you? And what are some of the highlights from that journey of being in the industry?
When I started in real estate 20 plus years ago, I started in an area on the south coast or south of Durban called Montclair, which is a lower income area. And that's where I learned how to sell property. Dealing with a lot of buyers who are buying for the first time, a lot of sellers who are selling for the first time. And I think the fact that that's where I started is the reason why still today I love dealing with first-time buyers and sellers, because I just have 20 years of knowledge and experience and with me that I just love sharing. It is a incredibly stressful journey. It is an incredibly emotional journey. You're buying a house that your family is now going to move into, or you're going to start a family and you've just gotten married. So I just love being the go-to person for those people, and sharing as much knowledge as I can. You and I worked on a deal together recently where the lady was from Joburg and she was buying her first investment property. And her mom was putting some money into the deal, but wanted to ensure that the property, the ownership of the property was protected. So we got to advise her on the different types of entities to buy the property in, and we decided eventually on a trust. And we helped or advised on how to go about setting up that trust, and all the
nitty-gritty
that go with it. There's different fees that are payable, whether it's personal capacity or trust. There's capital gains tax. Not all of these things, when a buyer is thinking about how do I want to buy a property, they don't take into consideration the consequences, not necessarily bad consequences, but good consequences as well. So I think that part of it I really enjoyed. Also setting up a real estate business. The thing about a real estate business, like a franchise or our main company, is we are employers, and we're giving people, estate agents, an opportunity to actually go out and generate an income for themselves and for their families. And, that's in itself is very, very rewarding. I've been in the training side of real estate and get to train estate agents that are new to the industry, not new to business, but new to the industry, and give them the tips and tricks that I've learned, over the years, that quite frankly allow them to compete with estate agents that have been in the industry for 20 years or plus. It's a beautiful thing to see an estate agent that's new to the industry conclude their first sale, and the look on their face, that sense of belief, when they've earned their first, couple thousand rand in commission. And then those people go on to the next chapter in their journey, which is, well, maybe I can actually turn this into a business, a franchise. And again, we've got those that knowledge and experience.
And I love that we have in our own organization 3 success stories where we actually have helped 3 individuals go from being a candidate property practitioner all the way through to now being a principal, having their own firm and operating with their own franchise. And I think it's so amazing to be part of that journey right from the beginning all the way.
See them in the top 10 in the group, and the one story that the young lady was a bookkeeper, and had sold a little bit of real estate, and we helped to get a qualification. Obviously, they do the most work and they have to study, but we paved the journey out for her. The other lady, and it's very important to say that there's a very strong sort of upliftment and upskilling side of this. She was an agent for one of our principals when the office closed, and she said, I actually want to set this up and run this as my own business. And again, did her studies, did her NQF4 as we call it, and then her NQF5. And then even we advised her on what entity to open. We helped her set up the company. We helped her register with in those days, the EAB and now the PPRA. And then, just another success story of an agent here in the Western Cape that joined the group and was thinking about going on their own and starting their own company, but has openly said that fitting in with a franchise company that has existing documentation, has existing systems, has a website. It would have taken them 5-6 years to put all of that together and hundreds of thousands of rands. But joining a franchise that's got a proven track record, has really helped them to progress in a short space of time.
It warms my heart to obviously know and have lived through success stories like that. And going back to one of those was when we phoned the agent and I'd love to actually have her for an episode from Newcastle, and she was told then on the telephone call that we've registered her firm, and she's now was a registered principal, and now she has her own very own firm. She's the owner
of her own company, yeah.
I will never forget. I must actually find it and play it to everyone in that episode with her permission. But the shouts and the screams of joy to know that after, I think it was about 3 or 4 years, you are now your own principal with your own firm, registered with the property practitioners, regulatory authority, and you've concluded the journey, and now your new journey starts. And I just love being part of those stories and walking that journey with people. And I think that's so exciting for me, concluding these different journeys that we've just been on with Real Talk SA, with your tenant journeys, the buyer, the seller, the investor, and really looking forward to taking people through our experts and knowledge and experience on what the journey would be like to actually be an estate agent and to be a property practitioner and to make that into a career. And it can be anybody. But like I said, if you have the passion and the drive to do it, it's all about partnering with the right people to help you get there at the end of the day. So in saying that, what would your advice be to people that's thinking about real estate as a career? Because it's not just a side hustle, as a lot of people call it. That also happens, but I think there is a lot of young up and coming generations that's looking at real estate as a career, and certainly with the PPRA, who's our regulatory authority, is now really, really tightened the reins on education and qualification and all the red tape that goes with it. So it's not just as easy to do it. And what would be your advice to somebody that's looking at starting a career in real estate?
Well, I have to say this. Real estate is not for everyone. Okay, so anyone wanting to join real estate has to be prepared to put in the hard yards. It's one of the few industries where you can join and start earning right away. But it is a commission-based industry. It is a results-driven industry, which means you are being paid for a result, not for your time. It means that you, in most cases, need some sort of supporting income to do it, which is, from a partner or maybe your savings. But if you can get through those first couple of months and you understand or you learn and you get the networking side of real estate, which is making connections with people, building trust, which comes naturally to a lot of people. I think a lot of people can or will actually find real estate to be one of the most rewarding industries. And I love seeing it. We've seen it with our friends who had a career, had a job working around going and visiting companies and being a bit of a PR person as well. And their post was, I found my dream job in real estate. And it's because it gives you that freedom. We actually to just be a parent, be a husband or a wife, be a friend, and at the same time, when you're interacting with those people, you're able to generate buyer and seller leads, build relationships, build trust, and then get rewarded for it. So it's that's one of the things I really enjoy about the industry.
I think it's a good time to share that we had an agent that is also part of the family, but that joined being a past teacher, and then she was awarded a Rookie Agent of the Year at our One Awards 3 years ago, and then ended up being 2 years in a row Agent of the Year. And I remember in her acceptance speech, if I can call it that, she said, real estate is not a job, it's a lifestyle. And I really love that, because even with us working in our own family business, it really is a lifestyle. It's not just a job that you go to from 8 to 5. It is a lifestyle, and I love.
It's amazing how many people in our company, but in the industry, have come from teaching jobs. Now that you mention it, and that's because you have to have that passion to share knowledge, and the you're constantly learning yourself, and then you have this ability or this opportunity to share information with others that don't necessarily have that. So incredibly beneficial. And then also to see that same person buy investment properties, sell investment properties, and how far those people have come along. So it's important to know that estate agents, property practitioners, also we practice what we preach. We must buy our own properties, and we must invest and build a portfolio. I mean, that's why we in the industry, right? That's what we know. So there's those benefits as well. I think one of the things I get asked a lot is, Jonathan, if you come across a good investment, please share it with me. And I go, listen, if I come across a good investment, I promise you I'm going to buy it myself. And I think as an estate agent, you get to see firsthand, that those investments that come across. And also you understand a lot more than the average person around the real estate transaction, contractual law, finance application, and what sort of rental return you'd get, and so even just someone that's looking at building a portfolio of properties for themselves should consider real estate as a career, because then you get to see and understand what it's like on the other side, which is the actual bringing together of a deal.
No, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here today. It is a privilege for me to have you in the chair, because we are also married for 15 years, and we've worked in our family business together for 9, almost 10 years. And I know you didn't want to be in the chair because it's not the norm, but it's a privilege to have you here and just to share a little bit with our audience and our viewers and listeners, especially as we go into the next series of episodes for Real Talk SA, which is going to be a lot more focused on a career in real estate, and giving advice and information to people who's considering that. So I think it's been amazing to end off, in this way, and to kick off, with that new set of episodes that's coming. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and it's been amazing to watch your journey from a completely different industry, applying the same service level standards, same organizational skills, bring it into real estate more on the operational side, but then also how you deal with buyers and sellers, landlords, tenants, but also with our own agents, and then now having this platform, which is your educational platform for the public as well. And we wish you well, and we always here to support you.
Thank you. And there's so much more to talk about. So thank you everyone for listening. We will keep you posted on any new and up and coming episodes, and follow this journey along with us.